Hello all, it is the man, the myth, the legend, Panda Man. But we are hopping into another G2 fight. I swear there are so many of these. And to start off, we are looking at this epic duel me and Negan had. This thing lasted for 30 freaking minutes, and honestly, we could have gone to an hour, but he said his hospital is filling. You guys can look at this report. Youch, like the amount of freaking injuries is insane. And we could have lasted an hour, meaning that we would have filled maybe like 200k in our hospitals just from this one duel. Kind of nuts. Also, I was getting debuffed during that. I was like, I think there was like a duel going on right beside us, and I was actually getting freaking either debuffed or Negan was getting buffed. Either way, you guys get the point. That was disgusting. Now we are getting into the real action. It is going to be ANCS, Mob, Boone, us, and we are going to be freaking clashing it out against some towers. And it was honestly a blast. I think Mob was honestly in a bad spot here because their whales, I think, are actually offline. So they have I wouldn't say he's weak, but he's much weaker than his whales, obviously. And he's trying to hold this thing, put a garrison captain in here, no Peterson or anything. So it's not like they're getting insane heals, and they just have to fill this thing, and they have to react as soon as possible. Because, their whales, like I said, are offline, and they're kind of put into a really non-advantageous spot, right? And then Tree comes up with some other Boone members out here trying to clear the field. And clearing the field here is super important, not even just because you want field control. It's mostly so they can stop people from actually getting into this rally. And you kind of see it here, they start popping out, they start trying to swarm the field down, and then this rally ends up canceling because I think they notice, oh yeah, we can't hold the field, we need to cancel this rally because the trades that we're going to be taking are going to be worse and worse. And then basically you see Boone start to pull off. And I want to mention that Mob stays on the field here. I think that this was not a really smart choice. I think Z just threw some freaking marches out. Because look, there's freaking Maxine over here. Why is Maxine out in the field? But you guys get my point. Mob should have pulled off the field because the second this rally went down, they needed to back off. Fighting these whales is not really a good spot for them to be in. They can't really do whale brawls, and they're just popping out. So at this point, they just need to back off. The second that rally dropped, the second Boone left the field, they just need to get out of here. And that's kind of what they do, but it just takes them a little longer than I think it should have. But ANTS basically was doing a build around off to the left, and the thing is, if you don't notice Mob's kind of tower here, this kind of goes to show that they were put in a spot where Boone actually couldn't help unless they built all the way around on the other side of the helipad, meaning that they'd have to wrap all the way around, and there was no way for them to build in a correct way to kind of help assist Mob with towers. And I also want to mention that here, Remo is out here outside of the tower that is building to connect to us, and we instantly come over, we swarm it down. And at first I was very confused why Remo wasn't in the tower or even garrison captaining it, and I had saw that he wasn't an R4, so I figured that was the reason, and probably didn't have anybody who can make him garrison captain, and he was trying to bodyguard this tower to hopefully give himself time to maybe put himself in there or something. And honestly, I think that Remo should have tried to hop in the tower with a march and maybe try to trick me into thinking that he was garrison captain. But otherwise, yeah, like they got, he was just put in a bad spot. And honestly, what can you do? What can you expect from him? We take on some fights over here. But like I was saying, ANCS is put into this spot where they're honestly able to force us to, kind of commit fights with them and challenge us. So they're building in a way that, is out of Boone's way, and only Mob and, us as well can fight them and kind of take their towers out. And this is not really a spot that we want to be in. This is really disadvantageous, and we're just put in a bad situation where we need Boone's field control as well as Mob to, kind of control the field and kind of help assist us with these towers as soon as possible. And, they were just able to build and kind of take really good trades by fighting us here. Alrighty guys, this is where the real action begins. We are rallying this tower with a ranged rally, and our trades are actually mediocre looking, but to be fair, we are also, using a lot of tier 4, tier 5 troops, and some of these in this tower are tier 6, so the trades that we're taking are pretty relative, and it's hard to actually determine if we're trading positive, quote unquote, or not, because, you know, obviously tier 6 has a lot more might and just the difference is too big. Also, you guys will see us cancel here in a second because, you know, 1, we got to 1 million on our rally, and 2, we noticed that the captain changed to Peterson, meaning that they would be, you know, kind of healing themselves way more often, and this wasn't really a tower fight that we could take, especially with ranged, so we decided that we would send an infantry rally to try to maintain it longer, and although we knew that we couldn't break this thing or take even good trades at that, we decided that we did want to rally this tower no matter the case, no matter how bad the losses would be on our side, because we did want to assist somehow, because to be fair, we, you know, are doing basically nothing when it comes to this whole fight. No matter the losses that you see in this video, what we put in, what we contributed was very little compared to Mob or Boone, or, you know, just helping us here, right? So we did want to put in some work, even if we knew that the losses we'd take were going to be just really brutal. And that's what you guys are going to see. We're going to be taking really bad trades soon. The trades we take on the tower for now are very even and maybe even in our favor in some circumstances because they have a much weaker garrison captain. But eventually they put Remo in charge and the trades go from maybe 1-1 or, you know, 1 to maybe a little bit more in their favor to being like 1-3 or 1-2. And like I said, of course, you know, although it shows 1-3 on numbers, we are actually trading way better than that, more like 1-2. Throughout the whole rally, just because it was tier troop difference. You know, you can kind of see that in the might when we go through the reports later, but you guys just get the general idea. Sometimes it's really hard to determine if we are actually trading, you know, negative or positive, or how negative we're trading, just because the, you know, difference in the tiers kind of make it hard to determine that stuff. And, you know, while we're putting that rally up, Mob is over here putting up another rally, and this is one reason we wanted to hold our rally no matter the losses, because we wanted to kind of force them to, you know, pay attention to us, kind of stop them from teleporting over and assisting Pickle in this tower, because if they take out this tower, we're basically getting, you know, our own tower assisted in a sense, right, because it's disconnecting them. Also, I want to note that they are constantly swapping back. You know, Pickle is swapping from, I think it was Peterson and Raygro to Tom and Lewis, and this was really smart because, you know, obviously he's not getting swarmed currently, so it's not like he needs those skills to drop and like heal currently. So what he does is he would drop Lewis AoE because he saw Captain kind of sitting near the tower, and this would just cause a bunch of damage to Captain's troops trying to be idle over here. And, you know, like I said, he doesn't need these skill drops for his Peterson currently unless they're like totally swarming his tower and he's struggling to keep it full, and then he needs those heals to make sure his tower is actually holding properly. But all in all, you guys understand the general point of that. He's just swapping back and forth, so he's basically getting, you know, the full skill usage of, you know, Tom, Peterson, of like their infantry skills and all that, and then he swaps over to, you know, sorry, not Tom and freaking Peterson, he's getting the skill usage of Raygro and like Peterson, and then he swaps over to Tom and Lewis to try to, you know, take advantage of that skill, and then swaps back to take advantage of their just stats and all that. Just in general, this is, you know, pretty smart strategy, and he's taking advantage of it to the fullest. And Captain, unfortunately, is idling over here and needs to just waddle his way out of here so he's not just taking those skill drops. Also, later, you're going to see Nam actually pull up and sit on top of the tower, and I'll explain why he could do this, why it made, like, kind of Pickle struggle here, and just how he avoided, you know, be it, for example, you saw how Captain was taking AoE damage, you know, area of effect. Lewis has that, obviously, for people who don't know, but basically he was doing that by sitting on this tower. And the thing is, since Boone isn't actively actually fighting on this tower themselves, they are not considered hostile or actual enemies, so he could sit right on this tower and basically, you know, not have any of the damage taken directly. But since Mob is, you know, actively fighting on this tower, actively rallying it, that AoE damage is going to be smacking them, since they are considered hostile, you know, in a hostile alliance at this moment, right? And then they start swarming it, and this is when he actually switches to Tom and Lewis, which made little sense to me at the time, because, you know, they were already swarming, and he kind of needed his Raygro and Peterson. I don't think he knew they were swarming. Maybe he was just sitting in the tower and realized afterwards. But yeah, you know, you don't really want your, I think compared to Peterson and Raygro, you'd rather have your Tom and, you know, Lewis not on, since the swarms are going to be freaking deadly. But in the case of, you know, just a 1v1 on the tower, I think it makes more sense for him to be swapping back, since he's kind of able to hold it right now without, you know, just tanking So it makes it just easier. I know I'm blabbing right now. I'm freaking blabbing my butt off. And also the trades here, you guys are seeing that's 1 for 3, 1 for 4 at sometimes. And it is disgusting. We are eating losses, and we knew it. We knew we were going to be hurting. And we said, you know, it is a must. We are going to eat these losses. No matter what, we must do. And Pickle is over here doing his best to defend this. And then you also see them Mob is using that zombie right there to buff their rally, with Tom as well as Alexander using their freaking first skills to buff the rally. Big Brain over here just taking advantage of the zombie to the fullest. And boom, you see them trying, you know, pulling back, making sure the zombie recovers. And then they will go back and try to, you know, just start those buffs again. Really good on their part. And honestly, they're doing an amazing job at keeping this rally full. Like, we are not able to keep rallies full for nearly this long against such a freaking tough opponent. At least a rider rally would tank way faster than an infantry rally, of course. I don't know, man. I'm freaking blabbing my butt off. And I think soon you're going to see Nam actually sitting on this tower like a real Chad. You know, honestly, tower sitting is a bit just rough. You know, I understand the frustration of it. You know, we had ANCS actually doing it to us later in this event. Also, I don't know if you guys see the trades here. The trades were absolutely disgusting. We lost 1.2 million troops. And I mean, we did not care. It was kind of worth it since we felt like we were doing something, but that was a real big pain. And then you see Nam over here waddling away from the tower. These tower trades were disgusting, of course, in Mob's favor by a huge margin, but they did, of course, lose the trades of, you know, injured to death ratio. I mean, to be fair, you know, the trades, like I said, were really good. All tier 6 troops, so they were not like just munching it up. And now you see some more tower action. These guys started pulling out. Their garrison captains dipped the second that tower started burning. And I took advantage of it. Saw Hank and Jaden in the tower and just swarmed this mess. Of course, the garrison captain was also weak, you know, compared to me, I guess. I wouldn't call him weak. You know, a lot of these players aren't, of course, weak. They are pretty decent sized. But, you know, when you compare them, like, it's like comparing me to a whale. Of course, I'm pretty weak compared to a whale. So in comparison, if I was using like Hank and Jaden on a tower, they would swarm the mother load out of it. Even normal heroes, they would swarm me like freaking monsters. But you guys get the point. You guys got the point. And now I think this video is about to come to an end. You're going to see a little bit of field action, then some reports. And then at the very end of this video, you're going to see us taking revenge on this farmer. He was hitting our farms. And he was teleported right by our helipad. And the guy didn't teleport in time, I guess. Like, we ran at his base and he never teleported. And we just ended up smacking him. And he had just a lot of deaths. It was freaking disgusting. And I kind of feel bad for him, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, that was kind of on him for teleporting behind us with 35 million might and just hitting our nodes, right? That was kind of crazy. And if you have enough to die like that, you should not be doing that. Also, I love freaking tier 6 troops, man. I have no tier 6 kills. I love getting some freaking good trades against tier 6 troops because it makes me feel like a happy little panda. But yeah, you guys are watching these amazing reports. And now you see Redfoot over here. He was behind us. He was munching on our farmers. And I instantly ported over. When I saw this, I ran over. And he's using a gather hero on his wall. So already, that's red flag 1. He's not even using a proper garrison captain, just making this way too easy to melt, and we just murder him. And you guys are going to see the reports here, and you guys can enjoy these reports because that is the end of this video, and I appreciate you guys, as always, for watching, and it has been a pleasure. You guys have an amazing day or night, though, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.